Nigeria today. Four explosive stories you should not ignore by Akahi News. Now, let's look at four major stories dominating public attention. The aftermath of the Osun governorship election, the latest deadly attack in Sokoto State, the Super Falcons crisis, and the controversy surrounding the 2026 WAEC results. Let us examine them one after another. 1. Osun election. Adeleke has won, but what does the victory really mean? The political dust is still settling in Osun State after the August 15 governorship election, in which incumbent governor Ademola Adeleke, contesting under the Accord Party, was declared the winner by INEC. Adeleke pulled 511,067 votes, defeating his closest challenger, APC's Bola Oyebamiji, by 66,252 votes. But beyond the numbers, the Osun election carries a much bigger political message. The election demonstrated that an incumbent governor can survive a highly competitive contest despite the enormous political machinery deployed against him. It also provides an important lesson for the APC and other opposition parties. Political strength at the federal level does not automatically translate into victory at the state level. Take note of that point and pay attention. However, Adeleke's victory should not be interpreted as a blank check. Take note of that. Winning an election is one thing, governing successfully is another. The people of Osun will now expect the governor to convert electoral victory into better roads, employment opportunities, improved education, good health care, security, and economic development. There are also questions surrounding the conduct of the election. Civil society organizations and lawmakers are already calling for investigations into election-related violence and greater scrutiny of campaign financing. Therefore, the real test for Adeleke begins after the celebration. And there is another major political dimension. The election has inevitably become part of the conversation about 2027 general election. Political parties will study what happened in Osun, voter mobilization, coalition building, party structure, campaign strategy, and the relationship between federal and state political forces. Our objective assessment is simple. Adeleke has won the election, but the greater victory will be measured by his performance in office. The people of Osun should therefore move beyond party celebrations and demand accountability from the government they have chosen. Another headline from Sokoto State: 28 people were unalived and Nigerian security problem remains a national emergency. Our second story is far more disturbing. At least 28 people were reportedly unalived when terrorists attacked a community in Sokoto State, with the chief imam of Ugushi Izala Jumat Mosque among those unalived. The Army's general officer commanding the relevant formation has visited the affected community. This is not simply another crime story. It is another painful reminder that ordinary Nigerians continue to pay the highest price for insecurity. And the worrying part is that the Sokoto attack comes amid broader security concern across the Northwest. According to a recent analysis of security incidents, Sokoto recorded a significant increase in attacks and fatalities during the first part of 2026 compared with the previous year. Meanwhile, another report published today says 31 states spent about 252 billion naira on security in the first 6 months of 2026. This raises a very uncomfortable question. And what is that question? If hundreds of billions of naira are being spent on security, why are communities still being attacked with such devastating consequences? The answer is not necessarily that the money is wasted. No, security operations are expensive. Nigeria has a vast territory, difficult terrain, porous borders, and multiple armed groups. But expenditure alone cannot be the definition of success. Take note of that point. The real measure should be whether citizens are safer. Can farmers return to their farms? Can villagers sleep peacefully? Can children attend school without fear? Can religious leaders conduct worship without becoming targets? Can communities trust security agencies to arrive before rather than after the attackers left? These are the questions that matter to Nigeria today. Government must therefore move beyond reactive security, deploying troops after people have been unalived, towards intelligence-led prevention, stronger local intelligence networks, better equipment, rapid response, and effective prosecution of criminals. Nigeria cannot normalize mass unalivings when 28 people are unalived in one community. It should not become just another headline that disappears after 24 hours. Every Nigerian life matters. Take note of that point. Very important, and pay attention to the next update. Now, from politics and security, we move to sport. The Nigerian Football Federation has ordered the Super Falcons' entire technical crew, led by Justin Madugu, to step down immediately following the team's disappointing 2026 WAFCON campaign and failure to qualify for the 2027 FIFA Women's World Cup. This is a serious development because the Super Falcons are not just another Nigerian football team. Take note of that. They are one of the most successful women's national teams in Africa. Nigeria's failure to qualify for the 2027 Women's World Cup therefore represents a major setback. But here is the important question. And what is that question? Is sacking the technical crew enough? Our answer is probably not. A coach can be replaced, but Nigeria's football problems are much deeper than one technical crew. There must be an honest examination of player development, scouting, preparation, federation administration, coaching appointments, funding, and long-term planning. Interestingly, Nigeria's men's national team, which is the Super Eagles, also failed to qualify for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. That means Nigeria's football leadership cannot afford to treat each failure as an isolated incident. No, there appears to be a broader structural problem. Changing coaches after failure may produce temporary relief, but unless the system that produces the failure is examined, Nigeria may simply repeat the same cycle. The Nigerian Football Federation therefore needs to demonstrate that this is not merely a change of personnel, but the beginning of a genuine football reform process. For the Super Falcons, the objective should be clear: rebuild, restore confidence, and return Nigeria to the world stage. Let's take another headline, and that is the final one. We return to education now. The 2026 WAEC results have come under increasing scrutiny following complaints from some parents, schools, and education stakeholders about alleged grading anomalies. Punch reports that WAEC is facing growing criticism over the integrity of the newly released results, while the Sun reports that some schools and parents are calling for a review of the computer-based WAEC results. There has even been a threat of legal action, with an education group giving WAEC a 14-day ultimatum over the controversy. But we must be fair. An allegation is not automatically proof of malpractice by WAEC. No, the examination body has defended the credibility of the 2026 results and explained that its marking and moderation processes involves several levels of checks. So, what should happen now? Not emotional accusations, not automatic condemnation of WAEC, and certainly not the dismissal of students' complaints. What Nigerians need is transparency. Take note of that key point. If parents and schools believe there are systematic problems, WAEC should provide convincing explanations and where appropriate mechanisms for candidates to have disputed results properly reviewed. At the same time, students and parents should avoid relying on unverified social media claims. This issue matters because examination results can determine whether a young Nigerian gains admission into a university, polytechnic, or college of education or other tertiary institution. A disputed grade can therefore affect someone's future. Take note of that. WAEC must protect the credibility of its examination, but it must also protect public confidence in that credibility. Finally, so what connects these four stories? What connects them is accountability. In Osun State, voters have spoken and the government must now deliver. In Sokoto State, Nigerians are demanding security agencies that can protect communities before tragedy occurs. In football, the NFF must explain how Nigeria moves from repeated disappointment to sustainable success. And in education, WAEC must maintain both the integrity of its examination and public confidence in its results. The lesson is simple. Nigeria does not merely need institutions, that announce decisions. We need institutions that can explain, justify, and take responsibility for those decisions. Thank you for watching, and please remember to subscribe to Akahi News. Share this analysis with others and join the conversation. I am Joseph Iyaji, and this platform is Akahi News. Thank you.